Exclusive. Prince Harry raises eyebrows as he issues controversial statement about Britain. Prince Harry has released a passionate essay ahead of Remembrance Day, revealing his love for his country and his pride at having served in the army. Prince Harry has spoken of his love of things that make US British, despite not even living in the country. The Duke of Sussex has penned a passionate essay ahead of Remembrance Day, where he expressed his pride at fighting for his country and warned how easy it is for veterans to be forgotten once the uniform comes off. Former soldier Harry undertook 2 frontline tours to Afghanistan and also describes the privilege of serving alongside men and women from all 4 corners of the UK. He calls on people to remember, not only the fallen, but the living, who carry the weight of war, and urges them to knock on veterans' doors and join them for a cuppa, or a pint, to hear their stories and remind them their service still matters. In what could be perceived as an olive branch to estranged brother Prince William, it is understood Harry released the essay this morning, to avoid overshadowing his older sibling's landmark speech at the COP30 summit in Brazil tomorrow. Meanwhile, a communications expert believes some of the language in the self-penned piece could even hint at how the prince misses his brother and also drops a clue about where Harry intends to live in the future. In a personal 647-word piece titled, "The Bond, the Banter, the Bravery, What It Means to be British" by Prince Harry, the Duke acknowledges that although he currently lives in the US, he reflects that Britain is, and always will be, the country I proudly served and fought for. Harry pays tribute to the stoic spirit of self-deprecation and humor of us Brits and fondly tells how the banter of the mess, the clubhouse, the pub, the stands are the things that make us British, adding, "I love it." He describes remembrance as not simply a minute's silence but a call to collective responsibility. The Duke says at the start of his reflective piece, "Every November the world, for a moment, grows quieter. We pause together to remember. Remembrance has never been about glorifying war. It's about recognizing its cost, the lives changed forever and the lessons paid for, through unimaginable sacrifice. It's also about honoring those who, knowing that cost, still choose to serve." Writing of the resilience and fierce determination of the Ukrainians met while visiting the war-torn country in September, Harry adds, "There is a similar stoic spirit of self-deprecation and humor in Ukrainians that I recognize more than any other in us Brits. Though currently I may live in the United States, Britain is, and always will be, the country I proudly served and fought for. The banter of the mess, the clubhouse, the pub, the stands, ridiculous as it sounds, these are the things that make us British. I make no apology for it. I love it." Paying a special tribute to former servicemen and women across the UK's 4 home nations and their communities, he writes, "I've had the privilege of serving alongside men and women from all 4 corners of the UK, from Antrim to Anglesey, Lancashire to London, Wrexham to the East Riding, Belfast to Bedfordshire and beyond. I saw courage and compassion in the harshest conditions imaginable, but I also saw how easy it can be, once the uniform comes off, for those who gave everything, to feel forgotten." He warns that, "Our duty to them does not end when their service does," and adds, "They safeguarded our freedom. We must safeguard their future. That way we all benefit." Harry expresses concern that, around the world this Remembrance Sunday, peace for those lucky enough to know it, feels more fragile than ever. He tells show he is moved each year by the strength of the children of fallen military heroes supported by the Norfolk-based Scottish Little Soldiers charity, and praises the courage and camaraderie seen at his Invictus Games competition. He finishes with, "Remembrance isn't confined to one weekend in November. It's a lifelong commitment to empathy, gratitude, and action. To be kinder, more united, and braver in protecting what those before us fought to preserve. So, as we bow our heads this weekend, let US remember not only the fallen, but the living, those who still carry the weight of war in body and mind, and the families who bear its memory in their hearts. If you live near them, knock on their door. If you see them around, shake their hand. And if you feel so inclined, join them for a cuppa, or a pint, to hear their story and remind them their service still matters." The Duke's message came as he prepared to begin a 2-day visit to Toronto on Wednesday, during which he will meet Canadian veterans, members of the armed forces community and military charities to mark the Remembrance Day period, which spans the 2-week period leading up to Remembrance Sunday. His thoughts were released while his estranged brother Prince William is in the midst of a major tour to Brazil and on the day of his Earthshot Prize Awards ceremony. It is understood Harry's swords were released on Wednesday to avoid drawing focus away from William's major speech at the COP30 climate talks in the Amazon on Thursday, and from remembrance events such as the Field of Remembrance on Thursday, the annual Festival of Remembrance at the Royal Albert Hall on Saturday, and commemorations at the Cenotaph on Sunday. Harry is said to have wanted to use his message to speak directly to the men and women around the UK who he served alongside. He is said to strongly feel that, although the Falklands, Northern Ireland, Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts may be over and the operational tempo has slowed, with many troops having hung up their uniforms, he has not forgotten them, and nor should the wider British public. Following the release of the essay, communications specialist and body language expert Judy James told The Mirror, "Expat Harry writes in a style of deep nostalgia for the country he left. He sounds like so many expats that retain an unrealistic, idealized memory of the country they left too, as though it has been pickled and preserved in another era that might not reflect the modern reality." Despite his normally constant adherence to his love of his life in the US, Harry sounds like a man still yearning for what he calls the banter of the mess, clubhouse, pubs, the stands. Harry was a man who grew up and cut his teeth on banter, especially with his brother William. Interviews back in the day show their banter together was relentless. There is a suggestion that in promoting the word so strongly and emphatically here, Harry is implying, perhaps subconsciously, how much he misses his older brother. He sounds embarrassed by this reveal, though. By adding, ridiculous as it sounds, he seems to be apologizing to his US audience, perhaps even to his own family, for this admission of nostalgia and what sounds like a sense of longing. This is an important sounding admission too. Most expats yearn for jars of Marmite or English tea bags, but Harry is letting everyone know, including Meghan here, that he's missing a kind of shared, intense, complex humor that he might not be able to get in the US. And she added, "Though currently, I may live in the United States," is the fascinating line though, both for its wording and its use of punctuation. "Though I now live in the United States" would be a statement of non-negotiable fact. But Harry adds, currently and may, to make it sound less fixed and solid. The use of the word, currently, sounds negotiable, appearing to hint at a return to the UK. It's a word that leaves things open, like, "I'm currently single," would imply a desire to get married, or "I'm currently unemployed," would suggest someone is searching for work. Harry's choice of wording hints that he's not only possibly homesick but that a return of some sort might be on the horizon. In 2020, the year he stepped down as a senior working royal and moved to the US with the Duchess of Sussex, Harry was left saddened when he was refused his wish to have a poppy wreath placed at the cenotaph, the focus of the UK's Remembrance Sunday service, on his behalf. Just months later, the Duke was stripped of his military patronages by his grandmother Queen Elizabeth II after his decision to pursue a life of personal and financial freedom was made permanent. He has outlined the importance he places on his time in the forces, saying in 2020, "My military experience changed my life forever and for the better. It changed how I viewed sacrifice and service. I was born into a life of duty, but it was during my decade in the army that I committed to a life of service." He added that it made me who I am today. Harry set up his Invictus Games competition for wounded, injured and sick service men and women more than a decade ago in 2014. Birmingham has won the bid to host the Games in the UK in 2027.